This presentation is brought to you by the Beljanski Foundation. Over 50 years of research towards curing cancer the natural way.
Hi guys, I'm Geoffrey Broderick. I'm a veterinary nutritionist and a veterinarian and a veterinary surgeon. And I have been in practice for, well, this is not very long. It's the 137th day of my 49th year. So, okay, the topic I'm going to talk about today involves something different than, can you guys hear me back there? Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. It involves something different than what all the other things that you see here, because all the other things that you see are for 4 members of the family. This speech is about the 5th member of the family, the dog or the cat or both. Everything that you see in this room revolves around the health and welfare of a human being. And human beings get everything. They get every kind of perk, every kind of gift, everything. The animal really gets nothing except food. That's all it gets. And the animal does not get human food. The food is not made for humans. You cannot feed pet food to humans. That's how bad it is. I make human grade or certified organic, antibiotic free, gluten free, free range, cage free, and GMO free food for pets. And there are people in this room that can testify to the fact that it makes a world of difference in just a few weeks. Now, I don't tell people that. I say, give them 3 months and everything. But there are people sitting in this room who have come to my booth, and they've told me how astounding the difference is in merely 3 weeks. And I've had people spending $20,000 and $30,000, and they get the answer, well, we don't know, we're not sure. We don't know what's wrong, we're not sure. We think he has cancer, she may not have cancer, she may have this, she may have that, and they're not getting the right answer. And with a change of diet, the results are absolutely incredible. Why is that? Because we have human food, and we're not feeding human food. In fact, we were told not to give human food. And why were we told that? Because we as veterinarians were taught to tell you that by the pet food cartel. They're the ones that told us that. Because if we feed human food, the animal's not going to eat the pet food. And if it doesn't eat the pet food, all these giant corporations that make pet food are not going to make any money. So what's it about? It's about money. That's what the whole thing is about. It's simply about money. So when you take a bag of pet food or a can of pet food and you read it, and my book, Compassion for Pets, teaches you why we're going through all this, how it started, what happened, where did it go to, when was it? And it was 1953, because before 1953, there was really no pet food. Now, yeah, there was pet food scattered around the United States from different places, but it wasn't in the supermarket. Well, there were no supermarkets. And 1953 was when the whole thing broke loose. 1953 is when pet food came out, Mazola oil came out, and these things that turned all of our health around. It all happened on right around one weekend in 1953. But one of the things that came out was pet food. And the pet food has led to the destruction of the animals in this country. So when I was born, October 23rd, 1941, 76 years ago, last Monday, everybody had a dog and everybody had a cat, because the cat moused the house and the dog guarded the house. And what did they eat? They ate what our grandparents ate. Well, my grandparents, your great-grandparents. So that's what they ate. They ate what everybody else ate. And you know what? There was no cancer. Now it's 1 out of 2. One dog out of every 2 dies of cancer. 1 cat out of every 2 dies of cancer. The other ones die of diabetes. Where's the cancer coming from? It's coming from feeding dead, down, dying, diseased 4D animals that are all thrown in a pot, a big cauldron, and stirred around for days, and then all the fat comes loose. The fat comes to the top and is rendered off. It's skimmed off. It's called a process of rendering. And that fat from these dead, down, dying, diseased, and disabled animals that are not fit for human consumption are put in a pot, and all the fat comes off, and then you render the fat. You skim off the fat, and it's called rendering. This is what we get to give our animals. Again, dead, down, dying, diseased, and disabled animals. Nobody's going to take a perfectly good chicken or a turkey and throw it in a pot just to get the fat off. They're throwing it in a pot to get the fat off because they can save the fat, and then they can sell the fat to people who use fat. And the fat is the most worthwhile, the most important, and the most expensive part of the animal. Then all the other stuff settles down to the bottom and is drained off and is ground up, and it becomes meal. So when you see meal on a label, you are seeing the results of these dead animals on the label. In the process of dying and becoming dead, the animals are put on antibiotics. So all those antibiotics are in that meal. And that meal then becomes toxic with antibiotics, because the antibiotics are eaten by the dog and cat in the meal. They don't go away from the cooking process. Then those antibiotics go in to your intestinal tract, and they destroy the good bacteria. When they destroy the good bacteria, you wind up with leaky gut syndrome. If you have leaky gut syndrome, you wind up with cancer, allergies, heart disease, kidney disease, liver disease, all these things, because you're letting in proteins that don't belong inside your bloodstream. So when I was born, the average dog and cat lived till 24. The dogs lived about 25, And the cats, I'm sorry, the cats lived about 25, and the dogs lived around 23. So 23 and 25 averages out to 24. So when I was born 76 years ago, the cats and dogs had no cancer, had no diabetes, had none of these diseases, these degenerative diseases that are blamed on aging. It's not aging, folks. It's the food that they are giving. They are given pet food, which is absolutely made of garbage. And the pet food is toxic. That's the problem. So now we went from almost no cancer, almost no diabetes, to every other one in 76 years. That's a really significant decrease in their health. Okay, so you talk about healthcare. Well, we don't have healthcare. Healthcare is just a term. We don't have healthcare. We have sick care, and the sick care costs a fortune. And you can take your animal and take it off of pet food, and in 90% of the time, you can take that animal and turn it around, and you're back in healthcare because you don't have sick care anymore. The other part about healthcare is, or the sick care that we have in this country, is that at least you have insurance. The animals don't have insurance, and the insurance is not affordable, and the insurance doesn't pay for everything, and the treatment of these animals is not working. You know, this is 49 years I've been a veterinarian, and I've seen all this, and I have seen through making organic food, which is the answer right now. This is the answer. It's organic food. The answer to cancer, the answer to diabetes, the answer to leaky gut syndrome, the answer to irritable bowel syndrome. And they all have things, you know, CA, IBS, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. It's leaky gut syndrome, and that's because between the food made of sick animals and the antibiotics that are put in the food to try to make the animals unsick so they can bring them to the human market. Remember something, in the human market, 95% of every chicken that you buy has antibiotics in it. 95%. I'm buying the top 1% of chickens in the United States and turkeys and putting them in with the rest of the ingredients that are all certified organic. So the whole thing is that if you can prevent it, look at the money you're saving. The people that buy Cornucopia, which is my food, there's a problem out there. The animals just don't get sick. Now that's a generalization, but the generalization is 90 to 95%. I've been in practice a long time, and the animals just don't get sick. So if the animals don't get sick, it doesn't matter what you pay for the food, and it is extremely inexpensive to begin with. But what happens is, it doesn't really cost you anything, because you're giving up the medical bills for the food. Does that make sense? It does, doesn't it? It's a whole different way. And so what do we call that? We call that health care. And if your animal does have cancer, now we have something else. We have opened a farm in Haiti, and we're raising the blue scorpion in the country of Haiti on 100 acres and surrounding the 100 acres with orphanages for children that were in the Haiti disaster and are living on the street. And we're taking them off the street, and we're bringing them back to church, and we're putting them in hospitals, and we're giving them medical care, all because of the blue scorpion. And that's called pet life. It's not Cornucopia, it's a different company, and it's called Pet Life, and you can look this up, and it's going to make an amazing difference very soon in all the patients that have cancer. So I'm going to leave you with this. Think about this. We have made healthcare for pets, real healthcare, true healthcare, honest healthcare, not made by big corporations, by a little family veterinary practice that has worked for a half a century to come out with this fantastic remedy called Cornucopia. Thank you so much. God bless.
Hey.